Hi guys and welcome to a new video. My name is SJ Hart. Thanks for watching. So we're gonna continue What Light, so let's start. After we stuff ourselves for Thanksgiving dinner and Heather's dad makes his annual hibernate through the winter joke, all of us move to what have become our traditional destinations. The dads clear and wash the dishes, partly so they can continue nibbling at the turkey. The mums head to the garage to start bringing in far too many boxes of Christmas decorations. Heather runs upstairs to grab the two flashlights and I wait for her at the bottom of the stairs. From the closet near the front door, I take down a forest green hoodie Mum wore on our walkover. Yellow block letters spell Lumberjacks, her college mascot, across the chest. I pull the sweatshirt over my head and hear the back door in the kitchen open, which means the mums are returning. I quickly look upstairs to see if Heather's on her way down. We were trying to leave before they returned and asked for help. "Sierra," Mum calls. I tuck my hair up through the collar. "About to leave," I shout back. Mum carries in a large transparent plastic tub full of newspaper wrapped decorations. "Is it okay if I borrow your sweatshirt?" I ask. "When you and Dad go back, you can wear mine." "No, yours is so thin," she says. "I know, but you won't be out nearly as long as us," I say. "Plus, it's not even that cold." "Plus," Mum says sarcastically, "you should have thought of that before we came over." I begin to take off her sweatshirt, but she motions for me to keep it on. "Next year, stay and help us with—" Her words trail off. I shift my eyes to the stairs. She doesn't know I've heard the conversations between her and Dad, or between both of them and Uncle Bruce, about whether or not we'll open the lot next year. Apparently it would have made the most sense to pull up stakes 2 years ago, but everyone's hoping things will bounce back. Mum sets the plastic tub on the living room carpet and pops off the top. "Sure," I say, "next year." Heather skips down the stairs in a faded red sweatshirt she only wears this one night a year. The cuffs are in tatters and the neckline is stretched. We got it at the thrift shop soon after my grandpa's funeral, when Heather's mum took us shopping to cheer me up. Seeing her and it always feels bittersweet. It reminds me of how much I miss my grandparents when I'm down here, but also how great a friend Heather has been to me. She stops at the bottom of the stairs and offers me a choice of 2 small flashlights, purple or blue. I take the purple one and put it in my pocket. Mum unrolls a newspaper-wrapped snowman candle. Unless Heather's mum changed decorating plans for the first time in forever, that candle will go in the front bathroom. The wick is black from the one brief moment Heather's dad lit it last year. At the first smell of burning wax, her mum pounded on the bathroom door until he blew it out. "It's a decoration," she shouted. "You don't like decorations?" Mum looks at the kitchen and then to us. "If you want to make it out of here, you'd better go now," she says. "Your mum's looking for her entry in this year's ugly Christmas sweater contest. Apparently she's got a winner." "How bad is it?" I ask. Heather scrunches her nose. "If she doesn't win, those judges have no sense of horrendous." When we hear the back door open, we scramble out the front door and slam it shut behind us. Next to the welcome mat is a small tree I carried over from the lot. Earlier I transferred the tree out of the plastic bucket, so its roots are now bound in a scratchly purplet sack. "I'll carry it up the first half," Heather says. She picks up the basketball-sized bag and settles in the crook of her arm. "You can carry that little shovel thingy you brought." I pick up the gardening towel and we head out. Less than halfway up Cardinal's Peak, Heather says it's time to switch. I slide my flashlight into my back pocket and then we shift the tree into my arms. "You got it?" she asks. When I nod, she takes the towel from my hand. I adjust my hold and we continue our hike up the hill, with the locals adorably call a mountain. We keep to the center of the packed dirt access road, which will loop around 3 times before we reach our spot. The moon looks like a clipped fingernail tonight, barely lightening the size of the hill. When we circle to the other side, we'll need our flashlights even more. Now, we mostly use them to scare away anything small that we hear scurrying in the bushes. "Okay, so the guys you work with are forbidden," Heather says, as if continuing a discussion that's already been playing in her head. "So help me brainstorm other people you can, spend time with." I laugh and then carefully pull the flashlight from my back pocket and aim it at her face. "Oh, you were serious?" "Yes." "No," I say. I check her face again. "No, for one, we're busy all month. There's no time. For another, and most important, I live in a trailer on a tree lot. No matter what I say or do, my dad is right there." "It's still worth trying," she says. I tilt the tree to keep the needles out of my face. "Plus, how would you feel if you knew you had to dump Devon right after Christmas? You'd feel horrible." Heather pulls a small trowel from her back pocket and taps it against her legs as we walk. "Since you brought it up, that's kind of the plan." "What?" She lifts a shoulder. "Look, you've got your high standards about how relationships should be, so I'm sure I sound all—" "Why does everyone think my standards are high? What does that even mean?" Don't get all prickly, Heather laughs. Your standards are one of the reasons I love you. You've got this solid, I don't know, moral foundation, and that's great, but it makes someone planning to dump a boyfriend after the holidays feel kind of bad, you know, in comparison. Who plans a breakup an entire month ahead of time? I ask. Well, it'd be cruel to do it right before Thanksgiving, she says. What would he say at dinner with his family? I feel thankful for having my heart broken. We walk several steps in silence as I think about this. I guess there's never a good time, but you're right that there are worse times. So how long have you been thinking about it? Since right before Halloween, she says, but we had such great costumes. The moonlight fades as we round the hill, so we shine the light closest to our feet. It's not that he's a jerk or anything, Heather says. Otherwise I wouldn't care about sticking around for the holidays. He's smart, even if he doesn't act like it, and gentle and cute. It's just that he can be so boring. Or maybe it's more like clueless? I don't know. I would never judge anyone else's reason for a breakup. Everyone wants or needs different things. The first person I broke up with, Mason, was smart and funny, but also a bit needy. I thought I wanted to feel needed, but that gets exhausting real fast. I learned that it's much better to feel wanted. How is he boring? I ask. Let me put it this way, she says. If I were to describe his boringness to you, the words coming out of my mouth would be more exciting. Really? I say. Then I cannot wait to meet him. And that's why you need a boyfriend while you're here, she says, so we can double date. Then my dates won't be so dull. I consider how awkward it would be to start seeing someone here, knowing there's an expiration date attached. If I wanted that, I could have said yes to Andrew last year. I'm going to pass on the double dating, I say, but thanks. Don't thank me yet, she says. I'll probably bring it up again. After the next turn, which takes us near the top of Cardinal's Peak, Heather and I step off the narrowing dirt road and into the knee-high brush. She sweeps her flashlight back and forth, what sounds like a small rabbit bounds away. Another dozen steps and the brush mostly clears. It's too dark to see all 5 Christmas trees at once, but when Heather's flashlight hits the first one, my heart warms. She slowly scans the beam until I see them all. We space them several feet apart, so one won't overshadow another in the sunlight. The tallest is already a few inches taller than me, and the smallest barely reaches my waist. Hey guys, I say, as I walk amongst them. Still holding the newest tree with one arm, I touch the needles of the other trees with my free hand. I came up last weekend, Heather says. I pulled some weeds and loosened the ground a bit, so tonight will be easier. I set the burlap sack on the dirt and then face Heather. You are becoming little Miss Farmer Girl. Hardly, she says, but last year it took us forever to clear the weeds after dark, so... Either way, I'm going to pretend you enjoyed yourself, I say, and whatever the reason, you would not have done it unless you were an awesome friend, so thank you. Heather politely nods and then hands me the tram. I look around until I find the perfect spot. A new tree, I believe, should always get the best view of what's happening below. After I kneel into the dirt, which is soft, thanks to Heather, I begin digging a hole large enough to contain the roots. The last 2 years we made the trek, we took turns carrying the tree. Before that, we wheeled it up here in Heather's red wagon. It has become like my own little tree farm, a way to keep a part of me here after my family heads back north. I wonder again if, next year, I'll have the chance to cut down the oldest tree. This season was supposed to be perfect, not bogged down with what-ifs. They're all around me, though, in everything I do. I don't know how to fully enjoy any of these moments without wondering if it's the last. I untie the twine that holds the burlap around the roots. When I peel the fabric away, the roots stay mostly in place, still covered in soil from back home. I'm going to miss these hikes, Heather says. I set the tweezers into the hole and spread out some of the roots with my fingers. Heather kneels beside me and helps me scoop dirt back into the hole. At least we have 1 more year, she says. Unable to look at her, I sprinkle another handful of soil around the base of the tree. I clap the dirt from my hands and then sit on the ground. Pulling my knees to my chest, I look down the dark hill to the city lights. Out there, Heather has lived her entire life. Though I may stay here only a short while each year, I feel like I've grown up here too. I exhale a deep breath. What's the matter? Heather asks. I look up at her. There may not be another year. She looks at me with a furrowed brow but doesn't speak. They won't say it to me, I tell her, but I've overheard my parents discussing this for a while. They may not be able to justify coming down here another season. Now Heather looks out at the town. From this high up, when the season gets underway and all lights go on, it's easy to spot our Christmas tree lot. Starting tomorrow, a rectangle of white lights will surround our trees. But tonight, the place where I live is a dark patch near a long street with headlights driving past. This year will tell us for sure, I say. I know our parents want to be here as much as I do. Rachel and Elizabeth, on the other hand, love the idea of me staying in Oregon for Christmas. Heather sits down on the dirt beside me. You're one of my best friends, Sierra, and I know Rachel and Elizabeth feel the same way, so I can't blame them, but they get you the whole rest of the year. I can't imagine you and your family not being a part of my holidays. I really don't want to miss my last full season with Heather, either. It's something we've known was coming from the beginning. We've talked about senior year with such apprehensive anticipation. I feel the same way, I tell her. I mean, I'm curious about what the holidays would be like back home. Not dealing with school online and getting to do Decemberish things in my hometown for once. Heather looks up at me and then at the stars for a long time. But I would miss you, I say, and all of this way too much. I see her smile. Maybe I could come up there for a few days and visit you over the break for once. I lean my head against her shoulder and look out, not up at the stars or down at the town, but away. Heather leans her head against mine. Let's not worry about it right now, she says, and neither of us say anything more for several minutes. Eventually I turn back to the smallest tree. I pat the soil around it and slide some dirt towards it in the thin trunk. Let's make this year extra special, no matter what, I say. Heather stands up and looks out at the town. I take her hand and she helps me up. I stand beside her, not letting go. What would be amazing, she says, is if we put lights on these trees so they would be seen by everyone down there. It's a beautiful thought, a way to share our friendship with everyone. I could open the curtains over my bed and look up at them every night to fall asleep. But I checked on the hike up, she says. This mountain doesn't have a single electrical outlet. I laugh. The nature of this town is so behind the times. Well, I hope you guys liked it, and see you guys tomorrow. Bye!